Grandmother said after they had been moving for like an hour, at about 3:30 p.m., she saw a little girl from her village standing by the roadside. But this little girl looked shocked. She looked like she had seen a ghost. So the grandmother said that is the moment she realized that something was definitely wrong. So the little girl asked Grandma, why is Philip not blinking? And why are his eyes wide open like that? Is he okay? So Grandma said she got up in the scotch cart, and then she went to check on Philip, and she realized that his eyes were wide open and like they were going to pop out. His mouth was wide open. She said she carried him and put him on the scotch cart and made him to lie down. While he was lying down, he was making sounds like groaning and moaning. And then she was trying to see what she can do. The next thing, he was forming from the mouth. Like there was foam coming out of his mouth. And then suddenly there was blood coming out of his ears, out of his mouth, and out of his nose. He was bleeding. Hello everyone, hello good people, welcome back to my YouTube channel. And if you're new to this channel, please don't forget to subscribe, to like, to comment, and to share. If you're already a subscriber, welcome back and thank you for stopping by. Please don't forget to comment, don't forget to like, don't forget to share. So in this channel, I basically talk about crimes that have happened in Zimbabwe, outside Zimbabwe, in Africa, outside Africa, anywhere and everywhere where Africans are thriving. But mostly I talk about crimes from Zimbabwe. And the things I talk about are already in the public domain. I love telling stories, but I do not make up stories. Everything that I talk about is already there in the public domain. All I do is just to scratch around, is just to dig around and find the stories from different sources, and then I compile a video. So whatever I am saying on this channel is already in the public domain. Disclaimer. Okay. So like my channel's name is Real Crimes, Mysteries, and Murders. And for the longest time, I've been talking about crimes, mostly murders. And I haven't been touching the mystery component of things. Of course, some of the crimes have a bit of mystery in them, but I want to go like, with this video, I really want to talk about mysteries, just a mystery. Okay, I'm actually going to be touching a bit on mysteries from now on. I'm going to be mixing, some videos will be on mysteries, some videos will be real crimes with mystery or without mystery, and some videos will be murders, no murders, just crimes. Okay, so just to balance the content, because some people actually don't like to talk about murder, some people don't like to talk about real crimes, some people just love mysteries. So let's try and give everybody what they like. Okay, so today I want to talk about a mystery that happened in our beautiful Zimbabwe. This mystery happened in Guruve in Chabvuta village. Okay, so what happened is it was in May of 2015. One morning, there was a couple, and these guys were Philip and Previous. They were married. They had just started their little business, like a tuck shop in their village. So they were like being looked up to by other people as a couple that was really trying to build their lives, as a couple that had direction, that knew exactly where they were going. And I'm sure like other people in the village, or they had like little assets that other people in the village did not have. So they were a bit privileged, or should I say vaiwana, compared to other villages. So one morning in May, their neighbor asked them to give her a ride in their scotch cart. If you don't know a scotch cart, what do we call a scotch cart? I think Dongoro, and is it? I think Ingoro. A scotch cart. So they asked for a ride on the scotch cart. Like the neighbor said that her grandson, who was 15, was not feeling well, and she really needed to take him to the hospital, to Guruve Center, but she didn't have any form of transport. So yeah, the scotch cart would really do the trick. And also Philip was supposed to go to Guruve Center to stock up for his business. So that morning, the neighbor asked for a ride, and he said it was okay. He would go with the neighbor and her grandson. While they were getting ready to go, Gift, that is Philip's brother, and his son came over to Philip's house, and they had breakfast together. Philip, his wife, Previous, Gift, and his son, the four of them had breakfast together. They had rice and tea for breakfast. And then so there is now Philip, his wife, Gift, his son, the neighbor, her grandson. So there are now 6 people, and they could not fit into the Scotch cart. So Philip's wife, Previous, decided that she was going to stay at home and let Philip take the Scotch cart and the people to Guruve Center. So while they were going there, Philip dropped off grandma and her grandson by the hospital, and he went on to do his errands. Okay, when he was done 4 hours later, he came back. According to the grandmother, he came back to the hospital and picked up grandma and her grandson. And then according to grandmother is the one who witnessed everything. Now she was just narrating what happened. So she says, Philip asked grandma, has your grandson eaten anything? And grandmother said, no, he actually hasn't eaten anything because he's been vomiting. And Philip was like, okay, that's fine. But he went into a store and bought some bread and offered to the little boy, to the 15-year-old boy. So now they were heading back home. Okay, so the Scotch cart started moving, and Philip tried to jump onto the Scotch cart, but he couldn't. His legs looked weak. He fell down. He couldn't go up. So he tried again, and he managed to get onto the Scotch cart. So according to the grandmother, Philip sat facing the opposite direction so that she could not be facing the grandmother. Okay, so the grandmother said after they had been moving for like an hour, at about 3:30 p.m., she saw a little girl from her village standing by the roadside. But this little girl looked shocked. She looked like she had seen a ghost. So the grandmother said that is the moment she realized that something was definitely wrong. So the little girl asked grandma, why is Philip not blinking? And why are his eyes wide open like that? Is he okay? So grandma said she got up in the Scotch cart, and then she went to check on Philip, and she realized that his eyes were wide open and like they were going to pop out. His mouth was wide open. She said she carried him and put him on the Scotch cart and made him to lie down. While he was lying down, he was making sounds like groaning and moaning. And then she was trying to see what she can do. The next thing, he was forming from the mouth. Like there was foam coming out of his mouth. And then suddenly there was blood coming out of his ears, out of his mouth, and out of his nose. He was bleeding. So the neighbor got scared. The neighbor is also grandma, right? Don't forget that. Grandma, neighbor, one person. So she got scared, and then she called other people to say, come and help me, see what is happening to this man. While the other people came in and they were trying to help, they decided they would send the little girl home so that she could go and tell his wife. Meanwhile, at home, somebody was passing by his house and heard moaning and groaning sounds and went in to check what is happening in this house and found Philip's wife on the floor, groaning and moaning. Previous, that is. So this person who was passing by called other people in the village and said, hey guys, come and see what's happening here. When they got there, they found her groaning and moaning and suddenly foaming out of her mouth, like foam was coming out of her mouth, and then she was bleeding out of her nose, out of her mouth, out of her ears, just like what was happening to her husband. So this started happening to the wife at about 3, and the same thing started happening to the husband at about 3:30. Right. So while they were witnessing all this, the neighbors got scared, the neighbors panicked, and they said, you know what, you need to send for her husband. So somebody was sent to go and fetch the husband. Then they met on the way. This little girl is telling her story. This boy who has been sent to fetch the husband is telling their story. And this thing was happening simultaneously. And these two died 30 minutes later, 30 minutes apart. Just like that. What could have killed them? What was happening? So anyway, their bodies were taken to the mortuary, and then they were supposed to go for a post-mortem. I did not see the post-mortem results, but a doctor who did a preliminary report said that it couldn't have been food poisoning because they would have been vomiting, not just foaming. 1, 2, if it was food poisoning, all the 4 people that had breakfast in that house should have been affected. We are talking about Gift, that is Philip's brother, and his son. They were not affected, just these 2. So yeah, villagers came up with theories. You know, when something happens, people have to talk. People have to come up with theories. Yeah. So one theory was that they had been bewitched because people were jealous of their little business that they had started, and they seemed to be doing very well in the village. They seemed to be having their act together. So people were not happy about it, and it looked like some people decided they were going to bewitch them and kill them both. Or maybe they actually decided that they were going to bewitch them, but they didn't mean to kill them, but then it just went far. That was one theory. The second theory is, some people said that, well, their business just boomed from nowhere. So it's possible that they actually did something. They went to get they got some ritual that was meant to make them get rich fast, but then they did something wrong in the process. So probably that's what killed them. It was their own doing. Vakaromba shikavapandukira. Basically, that's what other people in the village were saying. Like, that's just so mysterious. Like, how does it happen that the same thing could be happening to 2 different people in different places, like 10 kilometers apart, and they're going through the same process, and then they're dying, and they actually died. And this is husband and wife. But what is even not comfortable, like what doesn't sit well for me, is the idea that they shared breakfast with Philip's brother and his son, and they didn't have the same encounter, but they ate the same food. Could this be food poisoning? What do you guys think happened to Philip and Previous? So the local police station was actually contacted for comment, and they said indeed such a mysterious thing had happened, and they were trying to put together statements of people that had lastly seen them, trying to piece the pieces together to see if maybe someone could have given them poison, or if somebody had seen something else that nobody else had seen. If anybody has seen anything suspicious, if anything had been said by the 2 of them, if they had, but the weird thing is both of them died without even saying anything. They could not say anything. They could not talk. They just died. Now that's it. So what do you guys think? What happened to Previous and Philip? Do you think it was a case of witchcraft? Do you think it was a case of get rich quick ritual that went wrong? Do you think it was a case of food poisoning? To me, it remains a mystery. Why I say it remains a mystery is because I didn't see anywhere where the post-mortem report was published and people actually got to know what killed them. But just by looking at what the doctor said, it does not sound like poisoning. It doesn't sound like a case of food poisoning. Well, maybe there was some poisoning. If it was poison, what kind of poison was that? I mean, my learned people, talk to me. What do you guys think happened? As far as I'm concerned, it's a mystery. It's just a mystery. I don't know what happened. Right, guys, don't forget to comment down below. Tell me what you think. Let's talk about it. Let's keep the conversation going. Let me know what you think in the comment section below. And yeah, let's talk about it. Has anything like this ever happened where you come from? Are there any people that have died mysteriously where you come from? And was it a question of witchcraft? Was it a question of a ritual that went wrong? What happened? Let's talk about it. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for stopping by. Please don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to share, and definitely don't forget to comment. I like to hear what you think. I am not into I'm just gonna have to say this straight up. I'm not into toxic comments. So if you have something nasty to say, please keep it to yourself. I do not do nasty things. I'm not into violence. I'm not into street violence. I do not like nasty things, nasty comments, suggestive comments. No. Let's keep it clean. Let's just keep it healthy. Let's keep it humane, if you understand what I mean. Thank you so much for watching, and be blessed. Take care of yourselves, take care of your families, take care of your loved ones. Stay away from crime. If you do crime, you're most likely to do the time. And yeah, let's keep hearing more mysteries. Goodbye for now.